Well, command is an absolute privilege, and I've been very lucky to have a year as the commanding officer at HMS Scimitar, so one of the two vessels at the Royal NavyGibraltar Squadron, and now it's time for me to step up and become the commanding officer of the squadron itself. So your privilege is certainly a word I'll use an awful lot. I've got 25 people under my command, and two main missions, so British sovereignty of Gibraltar and the force protection of maritime units, both in and out of the dockyard. But no, looking forward to what will hopefully be an incredibly rewarding year.
How do you carry out your sovereignty patrols?
Well, absolutely, we do it with two lifespan patrol vessels, so HMS Sabre and HMS Scimitar, as well as 3 Pacific 24 ribs, and between those 5 units we then take regular sovereignty patrols to demonstrate British Gibraltar territorial waters and the sovereignty therein. 365 days a year I have assets at notice to go to sea.
Any comment to make at all on those sovereignty patrols and as you've experienced them over the past 12 months?
Well, I think it's safe to say that they're all different. It's a standing task, the sovereignty and the force protection, but every day is different. Even in such a small space, it's a congested and active space, but every day is different, and we're just ready in all respects to deal with what we find on the water.
In respect of force protection, this is largely welcoming and offering safe passage to visiting Royal Navy and associated vessels?
It is, so not just Royal Navy, but to allied vessels, vessels using the dockyard, so therefore transiting British Gibraltar territorial waters in and out of the dockyard. But it's a joint operation with the Gibraltar Defence Police.
One of the main differences that the naked eye, if you like, can spot between the GDP vessels and yours are the machine guns at the back. I mean, what does that armed capability mean?
Well, all of my sailors are incredibly well trained, and they're ready to deal with any particular maritime threat. And the Royal Navy has prepared them in all respects to do that. But we are then that internal screen, ready to carry out the last resort if required. But most of the passage is completely innocent, and they've all been carried out without any problems.
So behind you we can see HMS Scimitar and HMS Sabre, which are both about 25 years old. There's a procurement process underway now to replace them. What can you tell us about that?
Well, as you say, they are 25 years old, and I can certainly confirm that the procurement process has started. So far as what's happened, we've written the list of our requirements. So for the replacement for Sabre and Scimitar, that then goes into D&S at Abbey Wood, so Defence Equipment and Support, and they will then seek to push that out to different commercial companies who will then provide the best replacement for Sabre and Scimitar. But at the moment we've put our shopping list together. We'll just have to see what comes.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
What does it mean to go out in a place like Gibraltar, steeped in naval history, and represent the Royal Navy in a grey ship with a white ensign?
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. As you say, Gibraltar is steeped in maritime history and particularly naval history. It's not something that's talked about very often, but the demonstration of sovereignty is exactly what these vessels are for. Gibraltar it has a particularly special place for most sailors, I'll say. It was my first foreign run ashore, and I've certainly stopped here in every single ship I've served in, and now to live here and work here, it's just fantastic. I've spent a particularly good year here. I'm looking forward to another year here.
So you're literally just days into your new role as the Gibraltar Squadron's commanding officer. Are we expecting change on the horizon?
There may be a little bit of change, but on the whole, not really. The squadron works. We are here, as we said, to demonstrate sovereignty and to reassure the Gibraltarians. Part of that is being at sea and being that presence on the water. We deliver operations every single day, and certainly for the year that I've been here, I've had no reason to change anything that happens. There may be a few tweaks, but you wouldn't notice on the surface.